continue to honor through the course of the afternoon. My name is Andy Landrum. I am the Executive Director of Briarcliff Oaks and Claremont Oaks in DeKalb County. I also have the privilege of serving as the Board Chair of the Institute on Aging, and we just have a terrific group of people that have helped put this event together. And it begins always with the leadership at the top, so please let me recognize our co-chairs, Samantha Eves, Robbie Gerald, and Antoinette Sturm. Ladies, would you stand, please? Thank you all so much. On the back of your programs, you will also see our committee members. Those are Jody Blyer, Chris Brand, David Brooks, Walter Coffey, Gates Dunaway, Richard Evans, Jason Gerling, Janelle Green, Maricita Hughes, Andy Landrum, Arthur Levin, Ellen Miller, Wayman Perry, Laura Rice, Jeff Rock, Jackie Thornton, George Tucker, Karen Winston, and Karima Young. So if you get the chance to see these folks, please tell them thank you for all the work that they have done as well. And what happens all throughout the year, in addition to this gala today, we have so many great partners and sponsors also listed on the back of your program. Let me recognize those folks. Our gold sponsor, Pfizer. Our silver sponsors, Presbyterian Homes of Georgia, Wesley Woods Senior Living, Georgia Power, Lynbrook and Amerigroup Community Care. Our bronze sponsor, the Mayor's Office of Constituent Services, and our patron, AARP Georgia and Axe Life Care. So thank you again for making this afternoon possible.
Thank you, Andy. And this fundraiser is something that is the result of so many different people coming from north, east, south, and west. But it would not be possible without the wonderful stories that you have experienced on the storyboards. And it is indeed an honor to have all of our honorees with us today. So we thank you so very much, not only for what you have done, but for who you are. Now, many of you may be saying, Georgia Institute on Aging, who are they and what do they do? That's a good question. And so before we answer that question, I think if we fly high and widen the camera lens just a bit and think about what we are experiencing here today. Today we have a present day surge of the elder population. And with this, it is causing many to revisit long-held beliefs about aging. A myriad of questions surface concerning how we would like the latter chapters of our lives to unfold. And you never know how things will unfold. And so you try to be as graceful as you can. We're asking questions about how will our latter chapter of our life unfold. And we ask questions like, where will I live? How do I want to be treated? What am I afraid of? Will my latter years really be golden, or will they be tarnished? For after all, we do know that where and how you live does matter. Questions like these and many others have been the impetus of a present-day revolution called person-centered care. And in this new revolution, either-or ultimatums are giving way to both and alternatives. Who said caregivers never receive? Who said care receivers never give? And in this swirl of passionate discussion, the term care partners was born. Care partners. Caring is a symphony with many movements, many different tempos, and many different players. Caring is a collaboration. It's a joint venture. It is an exchange. When at its very best, it moves freely back and forth, just like the tides at sea. The delicate flower of caring cannot blossom in isolation. For it to rise to its full stature, it must be part of the dance of giving and receiving. No one realizes this more than the Georgia Institute on Aging. The Institute realizes that care partners don't just happen. They must be created and nurtured. The Institute realizes that creation takes initiative and calculated risk and much intentionality. And so, day in and day out, the Georgia Institute on Aging plans programs to teach and support those caring for elders. Day in and day out, the Institute works tirelessly behind the scenes for legislation to benefit and to protect elders. And in turn, the Institute receives many treasures from the very elders they serve. And so, at the end of the day, the Georgia Institute on Aging can be seen front and center on the playing field of aging. They are the flag bearers for this new culture of care partners. And one may say, why? Why do all this? The answer is simple. Because our elders deserve the best and no less. And as we think about this, we are very fortunate to have our special Icon Image Award winner here tonight. And without any further ado, I turn your eyes to the screen for her very special introduction.
Bishop Dr. Barbara Lewis King, affectionately called Dr. Barbara, is the founder minister, world spiritual leader of Hillside International Truth Center, a non-denominational ecumenical ministry headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. Hillside began with a prayer group of 12 in Dr. Barbara's home in 1971, and now in its 41st year, Hillside is one of the larger New Thought centers in the world. Dr. Barbara is a native of Houston, Texas. She has a bachelor's degree from Texas Southern University, a Master of Social Work degree from Atlanta University, and several honorary doctorate degrees. She began following her dream of being a minister by becoming the program administrator at Christ Universal Temple under her spiritual mentor, Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman. She is an ordained minister, a professionally trained social work administrator, has served as Dean of Community Relations at Malcolm X College in Chicago, was a college instructor, as well as Dean of Students at Spelman College, and an administrator at Emory Mental Health Center in Atlanta. With a continued belief in lifelong learning, Bishop Dr. Barbara completed all academic requirements to receive her doctorate in ministry from the Ecumenical Theological Seminary of Detroit, Michigan, which she was awarded on June the 2nd, 2012. Dr. Barbara King has authored 9 books. Some of the titles include Transform Your Life, Piddling for the Soul, How to Have a Flood and Not Drown, What is a Miracle, Love Your Body Temple, Giving is Receiving, The Church, A Matter of Consciousness and Prosperity That Can't Quit. Bishop King has written several magazine articles and is currently writing her autobiography for future publication. Dr. Barbara has hosted her own television program, A New Thought, A New Life, and has appeared as a guest on shows produced by Oprah Winfrey and Tavis Smiley. She has been called upon to offer commentary on national news programs. She has given guidance and counsel to heads of state and several presidents of the United States. She has also been invited to participate in several White House conferences. Bishop King is one of the foremost spiritual leaders of the 21st century. She continues to receive numerous honors, awards, and recognitions from some of the nation's most prestigious organizations. In 2001, Dr. Barbara Lewis King received the highest honor ever bestowed upon a woman, as she was installed as the first female chief at Asin Nsuta, Ghana, West Africa. In honor of nearly 50 years of service to God's people everywhere, and in recognition of the thousands of people she has taught, trained, and ministered at Hillside International Chapel, the International College of Bishops assembled and did duly consecrate Dr. Barbara to the sacred office of bishop on September 26, 2010. All of the privileges, honors, and biblical authority associated with the title worldwide were bestowed upon her, and Bishop Barbara King made history as the first New Thought minister to be officially and duly consecrated to the Episcopal office of bishop. On January 28, 2011, as a permanent tribute to the foot soldiers who waged the fight for equality and human dignity, Bishop King's footsteps were added to the International Civil Rights Walk of Fame at the Martin Luther King Jr. National Historic Site in Atlanta, Georgia. In February 2011, the Samuel DeWitt Proctor Conference presented her with the Beautiful Are Their Feet Award, which honors men and women throughout the international religious community whose steps God has ordered and whose works are worthy to be praised. In July 2011, Bishop King spoke before 50,000 people, representing over 151 countries at the World Culture Festival of the Art of Living as they celebrated their 30th year at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin, Germany. This was a global program viewed by millions via webcast and live telecast. In February 2012, Bishop King delivered the culminating address at the International Women's Conference in Bangalore, India, to over 1,000 women who had gathered from various countries around the globe. And tonight, the prestigious 2015 Positive Aging Icon Award goes to Bishop Dr. Barbara Lewis King.
Okay, so that was Jeff Rock, the chair of the Leading Age Board. We're trying to get everybody worked in. And Dr. Barbara, I know you said you wanted to sit down. We're going to let you sit down and talk to us for a minute. And then I'm going to join you whenever you're ready.
My. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello. Oh, wake up. You're not old folk. I am spiritually and emotionally overwhelmed. I've never been honored for my age. And I forget my age most of the time. But I really am 85, soon to be 86 next year. I got my doctorate age 82. But this is quite a tribute. I really want to thank Walter and Leading Age Board and all of you who played a part in this. I'm just so thankful to God to be where I am today. I've had a lot of achievements, but I came also from an achieving family. My grandmother was really a very spiritual person, and she was very active in the National Baptist Convention. So from a little girl, I went to all meetings with her until she said she stopped having to pay for me riding on the train. And at 13, I acknowledged to my minister in Houston, Texas, where I was born, that I wanted to go into the ministry. And he immediately told me that the Baptist church did not honor women in ministry. He wondered where I got the idea from. And I said to him, I'd never seen anyone. It came from within me. I just knew in my heart. And every time he preached, I would look at him and see myself. So I continued to pursue my high school education, because I was 13 years old when I told him. And I went on to college in Houston, Texas, where I was born. And during my college career, my sophomore year in college, I became ill with a life-threatening illness called tuberculosis. And they told my father that I would not live. It was in both lungs, and it could just prepare for my transition. Well, I was pretty wild, pretty active, as you can see from all of this background. I didn't accept it, but I went on into the hospital. And I was in the hospital for 4 years, because back in those days, there was no treatment for TB. It was only resting. And I always smiled because they gave us a treatment called inserting air into your lung with a needle and a tube. So I always say I know how a tire feels on a car. Well, during that time, again, coming from a very spiritual background and being a very spiritual person, I continued in prayer. And I just knew that I'd get back to school. And my grandmother reared me as a single parent. I was very anxious to go back to college, graduate, and do something special for her. So I never saw myself dying. I danced, I went to all of the other patients. I was kind of a preacher then, because when somebody was getting ready to leave the world, they would send me, because I was the only one in that ward who had been exposed to a ministry to church. So I could pray for people. And I would sat with people and watch them close their eyes while I was saying the 23rd Psalm. Well, in Houston, when I was born back in the day, there were no African Americans on the radio. And so we used to listen to the white ministers who would come on the radio. And one day a minister said, place your hands on the radio and you'll be healed. Now, you know, I'm not a Baptist church, we don't place our hands on anything. What did I know about healing? I placed my hands on the radio, and he said, you know, you heal in the name of Jesus. And I believed him, but at the same time, I realized it was not about placing my hands on the radio. It was an act of faith to believe that I could be healed. Well, 4 months later, a French doctor came into the area where we were and called me out to the examination room. And he said, Barbara, I want to show you x-rays. Well, I knew what x-rays look like at the time of the end. Each x-ray was progressively better. I had surgery on my right side where they took out what they call lobectomy, took out a part of my right lung to give me the rest. That part of my lung had expanded out like an entire lung. They couldn't explain it. I certainly couldn't explain it, except to say it was all God. And so with that, they dismissed me. But they said when they dismissed me, you won't live 5 years and don't ever plan to have children. Well, I have a 48-year-old son, 5 grandchildren, and 3 great-grands. I went back to school on the wing of a prayer. I couldn't get any support, and finally I begged the people in the Department of Education to give me a scholarship. I worked as a maid at Texas Southern University to pay for my books, pay for my tuition. I worked in private homes. I worked in a restaurant. I was a bus girl. Whatever it took for me to get through school, I was going to do. So I got through college. I came to Atlanta for the School of Social Work with Whitney Young, famous civil rights activist, with the dean of the school. I graduated with my master's and returned, went to Chicago to work because my daddy said, if you go to Chicago, you have all the social problems. Well, make a long story short, I worked in Chicago for 13 years. I worked in the streets. I was a social worker in a group agency. And I must tell you this. I worked in an agency where there were about 75 senior citizens who came to the center every Wednesday for their meetings. Now, their meetings were coffee, sweet rolls, and gossip. And I was their leader. They called me secretary. So I got very smart with my degree. And I said, every week I've got to write 60 or 70 postcards. Well, these people come in, they know they're coming anyway. So I'm not sending them more cards. So I stopped. And about 2 meetings later, the president said, Secretary, stand up. I said, yes. He said, do you realize that both of us, the only mail we get is that postcard? Please don't stop sitting. That was my first lesson in learning how to treat people to meet their needs where they were. I learned that in social work, but I had to use it. So that was my first experience, and I worked with seniors. In fact, I was a group worker, so throughout the city of Chicago, I worked in community centers where there were seniors, where there were daycare centers, there were teenagers, all ages, and I had a one-on-one experience. And then I married and moved to, I married in Chicago, and it didn't work out. And I eventually married a preacher, so I said, I can't be the preacher, I'll be the preacher's wife. And I relocated to Atlanta. That didn't work out either, because he finally said I was taking over his church, and I probably I thought I was helping out, but I was helping out. So that didn't work. I have no regrets because I understand life is a journey, and we have lessons along the way. If you learn your lesson, you will not repeat, but I did repeat it. But that didn't work out, that's okay. I know who I am now, and I know that when you find out who you are, you're not looking outside yourself for love and for attention and for affection, but you realize it's already inside of you. It was mentioned about the New Thought Ministry. That's the group that I belong to. We're all over the world. And we believe that God and man are one. We believe in spirit, mind. We should honor spirit, mind, and body. And because of that, we don't believe that's a separate. We believe that God is spirit, and that spirit is always with us. You don't have to go get God. Just realize who you are, and that there's a presence, when you call it intelligence, when you call it something told me, but that is that in you, which is so perfect, and which you retreat to when you do meditation, when you get still and acknowledge that I'm just not by myself. I'm human, but I'm also divine. That's our teaching, and I make no apology for it, because I just spoke to 10,000 delegates at the Parliament of World Religion that were through 350 religions all over the world. I was one of the keynotes. And one of the things that organization does is bring people together, all denominations. One thing we realize, whether you're Baha'i, whether you're Buddha, whether you're Christian, whether you're Jew, there's only one God. And that's the essence in which we come. And therefore I can embrace, I can go to the Catholic service and have a wonderful time. Because just to be in the presence of others, we have to believe. So we are open to all teachers. We listen to people, because until we learn to hear each other, we don't know each other. Until we learn to touch each other. And while I'm doing it right now, reach over and touch somebody. Do that for me, right? Reach over and touch somebody. You know, because we get all our honor. So keep your hand there. Don't move. I'm 6'5", I can see. Put your hand back over there. Put your hand back. Why am I doing this? It's not to just have you hold my hand. But we've learned, science and religion are not far apart. We've learned that we are energy, all of us. Somebody said, well, you look like an angel. Well, I'm an earth angel. Don't sit here and say yet. I'm an earth angel. But what is it about us that we're drawn to people? And sometimes we feel, will you all join hands, please? Thank you. You too. Why do men don't want to touch men? I don't get it. But there's an energy in this place, right? We brought it in, it's already here. And what we're feeling, the joy of being together, of being honored, without even knowing each other's names. I can look out there, and if I can just tell you, it's something like a sea of energy flowing from you right now. Take that man's hand behind you. This is an energy field, and even now, in a book like this, somebody's emotions are being fueled. I've been up since 5 this morning. I preached a service. But even from me right now, I'm feeling your energy. And I'm giving you the best that I can. And so therefore, I know that we are on this earth plane to nourish each other. Not about race, color, creed, religion. It's about recognizing that we all came from one source, one presence, one power, God that did our difference. And when we acknowledge that, we can love each other. And it's not to worry about who you are, what kind of background, what kind of money you have. That's not the issue. We didn't come in there. We came in to express a love, a joy, a happiness. Yes, we have challenges. I even went through a cancer experience. Got through that. Had a God in my throat. Got through that. But everything I've gotten through has been by my faith to believe that there's a presence and a power that will never let you down. You don't reach your hand down. Hug yourself. Give yourself a hug. Hug yourself. Come on, man. Everybody don't have a boyfriend. Hug yourself. Come on, little lady on the front. Wrap yourself up. Touch your other hug yourself. She's not hearing so well. Now hold yourself. Hold yourself. Because you see, everybody ain't got a man. Everybody ain't got a woman. Why am I doing this? One of the things that I've learned from our teaching, you can't love your man until you love yourself. So hold yourself for a minute. Come on, young lady. It's okay. I know you're Buddhist, but go ahead. Put your hands up. Tell her what I said. Love yourself. See, we get caught up in lines of separation. When you get right down to it, ain't one blood and all, it's all red. We just got different colors. And that's good, because we all look like we would be a mess, wouldn't we? But for a moment, just close your eyes and feel your own presence, feel your heart. Know that you're in the right place at the right time. And just say to yourself, Father, call your name. I'm going to call mine and say, I love you, Barbara. I love you. Call your name. I love you. Say, I love you. Call your own name. Not somebody's name. Call you. Now you can release. These are things that we do in our ministry. And I want to tell you maybe 3 or 4 things I'm going to learn to live life to the fullest.